with the veterans piece. Um, Couple things. Um, yes, they are a independent commission, identified from the Ohio Revised Code. The outcry that came from the news article came to us and bringing attention that over 40,000 veterans in Hamilton County are not being serviced. And when we received the minutes at the last minute when all this came about, it was disappointing that it's the first time that we saw reports. I've only been here, I think, 3 years, but I can tell you I've never seen the Veteran Services Commission come before us. And I think it was said by Commissioner Dumas in her time, she had never seen them. Almost safe to say they hadn't been here maybe in a decade or more. And we are in the budget process now, and it was said that each of us, we can't talk to each other, so I would assume that's what Mr. Ludo had indicated. When we got here, we all asked, can we do more for veterans? And I know from my conversation, Mr. Ludo told me, no, you can't, because they will not accept the money. They must ask for the money. And at the time, just being new, I accepted that as the answer because I was under the assumption that the veterans, out of respect for those who were running it, was helping veterans. So I said, okay, well, maybe they know best. We now find out that when we get the documents, because I had asked for Mr. Ludo to invite them to come because we can't mandate it, but invite them to come. And the first time they said, oh, we can't come because the person that's over it is not available. So I said, well, bring the second person or the third person. But they got to come because the headline, and I can't let that headline live out there. It says $31 million. It's a lot of money. That's supposed to be used for veterans. Was then back into the county's general fund, and it stated dates that predated me, and it said that the commissions used it for other projects. Now, it didn't say the Veterans Commission. It said Hamilton County Commissioners. And I got a problem with that. I got a problem with that. My grandfather would turn over in his grave if he knew that his granddaughter was sitting up here as president of the Board of County Commission. One, he'd turn over because he wouldn't believe that could happen. But then when you get an opportunity, and he was in the Navy, and my other great uncles, they all served every branch. My sister-in-law, who's alive right now, served in the Air Force. They would not be happy that I would sit here and not try to do something. When 40,000 veterans are in Hamilton County, and when they gave us the paperwork, they're servicing like maybe 400, 500 if we're lucky. Not even 10% of the veterans are being serviced. So passing the buck and saying, well, we're going to talk to this person and talk to that person, well, they've been doing this for a long time. It's the first time they ever had to come to the Board of County Commission to even face us. We didn't even know what they looked like, nameless and faceless. We had never received any reports. I know in my 3 years, I never received reports, but all of a sudden we get minutes and reports for 5, 6 years back. And then when you see the areas that they could be giving money toward, and they give $0, glasses, pharmacy, all of those things, and then you see Butler County got vans, and they're treating their veterans with first class, taking them to their doctor's appointments. And then we're over here with $300 and $400 in bus passes. I understand that it's not the fault of sort of, yes, they'll be willing to work with us. But if Butler County got a van, you mean to tell me they better than Hamilton County, we can't get a van? I don't take that in. Now, the easy thing for me to do is say, well, we don't control them. We'll go to the meeting like everybody else and listen. And at the end of the day, this budget that's going to be passed, that we got to pass, in the budget, it's still got the same amount of money. They ain't asking for the money. And then I asked, well, can we give them more money to the commission? Because if you give them 10% more, then we get to make board appointments. And I'm getting so many people calling me that are veterans that want to serve and get involved. But Mr. Ludo told me, and I want to make sure I'm right, to prosecutor, please make sure I'm right, legal counsel. I said, give them 10% more so we can make a board appointments. Because we got to get some new people in there on this board. I was told that we can't give them 10% more. They got to ask for 10% more before. Is that correct, lawyers or somebody?
Commissioner, yeah, I think I actually read the ORC at our last meeting that said that their request had to be 10%.
So it had to be them request. I'm just explaining to the people that's watching. They got to request it. So then the other thing could be, well, we're going to sit back and we're going to try to talk to them. We're going to try. But what's going to happen to these 42,000 veterans that ain't getting serviced? What's going to happen with this headline that's out there, $31 million? Mr. Ludo, the lady, and then the lady from the veterans, she jumped up, wanted to ask, where's the money? Can you answer that question? She wanted to know where the money is. The lady that's working at the Veteran Services. Can you answer that question? You answered it before, but we got to answer it again so people are watching.
The specific question being,
she said we got 31. They said $31 million, and the lady that works there, what's her name, Pam? She jumped up, said she works there, and she wanted to know where the money is. Yeah, I think Commissioner Dumas had asked too. But can you?
And I think if I remember specifically, she was talking about the money that they did send back, which I want to be again clear. We talked about this at the last meeting, that they request a certain amount. They have not requested 31 million. So the money that they did send back, which I think over the past 5 years totals about 1.3 million, that would be dollars that goes to our general fund. But to be clear, the 31 million is essentially a cap that they can ask for in a certain year, and that 31 million I think was a certain number of years that the media added up to say that according to the ORC, they could have asked for this amount. The fact of the matter is they didn't ask for that amount, and so the Board of County Commissioners has budgeted the amount that has been asked for and routinely passes a resolution. I'd recommend that the board pass something similar this year that says we're approving this amount in the budget. If you need more, Veteran Services Commission, you can come back and request that, and we will fund that.
Yeah, and that's not good enough because we've been doing that. They're not going to ask for it. So the question is, how do we get veterans help? What did they ask for this year in this budget that you're recommending?
In this budget, I'll have to look at what the total amount is. I can find that in just about a minute.
Okay, I'd like to know that. My point to it is we had all these people in here. They never came to have to talk to us. They finally did come talk to us. And then they put somebody up. It became a dog and pony show. They presented somebody that said, we're going to be, said the guy that was over it, you claim he wasn't available, he wasn't able to serve. And then you bring an interim person in here, he stands there. And then on Monday, you send a thing around and say, no, you were just there for show to the commissioners. We just had you up there for the TV cameras and the commissioners. We're going back to the guy who said he's not available, and now he's going to work from home. But he doesn't know technology, so he ain't even got Zoom. So I can't sit here. I might lose. I might not get the votes. But I'm not going to sit here and be on record. I got to be on record that we tried to do something. So I have a motion, and I don't want to play no games with this veteran stuff. I don't play around with this veteran stuff. I'm not okay with, oh, well, that's the commission and we can't do nothing. We can do something. We can do something. I believe we can do something. We might can't rule and tell them what to do, but there's some things that I believe we can do. So I had a motion that I put just to have in the record, and I'm going to do a resolution, up or down. I don't mind going down for the veterans. If I got to go down, I'm going down with the veterans. But I cannot accept what they did. They came here, they gave a dog and pony show with that one gentleman. Came here on a Thursday, and then came in there, the lady that got up, I guess, I don't know who she is. They said Pam, who got up and told everybody, oh no, you're no longer in charge. We're back to business as usual. And it was never to embarrass anybody. It's about trying to help 42,000 veterans, and we're not even helping 10%. So if they haven't asked for 10% more what they got last year, and they wasn't asking for much last year or the year before, how are we going to get additional things? Nothing that anybody said they're going to adhere to. And then I forgot to get this part out. They gave themselves a 4% raise. They're lucky I didn't have my glasses last week. They gave themselves a 4% raise. So they got a raise, but no raise to help the veterans. So I've got a motion. I'm willing to add, or we can add stuff, but we need an ombudsman that's under this board. They could be part-time like we have these other offices. We got a lot of part-time people. And that person can be the liaison to be at their meetings, at our meetings, keep us abreast of what's going on. That person would get some marketing resources. They're advertising Butler County at Paycor Stadium. The stadium owned by Hamilton County taxpayers. And I'm not mad at Butler. They're doing their job. They're advertising. And we right here in our own taxpaying stadium, and we ain't saying nothing to our veterans. So I'm saying having some marketing, that ombudsman would do marketing. That ombudsman would be the person that go back and forth to those meetings, would also connect people with, maybe you need to be at veterans, maybe you need to be over here, and then establishing an event. I was embarrassed. All these other counties having big events, veterans. We ain't got nothing, and we got the most veterans. So that person would also organize on behalf of the county our own annual day, not on Veterans Day. We're not doing it on Veterans Day. Might do it in April, whatever. A Hamilton County Veterans Appreciation and Resource Day at Paycor Stadium, not during a season, and during one of those community days that's in our lease that we're supposed to be getting. And we can have people there. They can sign up for grants and housing and health care and disability, food assistance, etc. But at least it shows our board under us what we can do. This is what we're trying to do, to connect it. Not waiting on what are they doing over there, and they not gonna change. They just showed us. They came here, they said a new person was gonna be interim, and that was on a Thursday. And on a Monday, they told the guy, thank you for your acting classes. We don't need you anymore. We're going back to business as usual. We're going to do what we've been doing. We're not going to ask for more money. So, Mr. Ludo, did they ask for 10% more in this budget?
So what I have in front of me, Commissioner, is the recommended budget, which is at 1.092 million. Their projected expenditures for this year are 999,000. So it's not on. So what I would have to look at is what their actual request was, because then we'll right size the request with trend as well. So, but I know we looked at this, and I don't think they triggered the 10% when we asked.
Right. So they not. And look, their budget under $1 million, and you got 42,000 veterans. $300 and $400 for bus passes, $0 for glasses, $0 for pharmacy. And these aren't things I made up. They gave it to me. These are eligible expenditures. $2,000 for utilities. I think we need to be on record. I know we had a resolution, and if you need more, they not coming for more because they don't want us to make no appointments on that board. They not. We done reached out. We done had them come here. We done saw their minutes. They done gave us, this guy's gonna be the new interim. That's gone. I mean, at some point, we got to stand up and say, this is what we can do, and we're on record, not on we're just going to talk about it, because they're not going to listen. They're not going to listen. So that's what my concern is with that. But I'm very upset as you came here, showed us somebody, and then Monday morning told that somebody, you're a nobody. Go back to where you were. We're going back to business as usual. it's sad. I had some hope, but my hope is getting, by the actions, I'm not as hopeful. So after Thanksgiving, I'm going to introduce a resolution, and it could go up or down, but I got to be on record. And I really do think this is the right direction to go. We're not trying to do another Veteran Services Commission because we're not funding all that. They still fund all that stuff. They still do that. But we need somebody that's an ombudsman to keep an eye on what's going on, be able to report back to us, and also be able to have some marketing and an event annually that we can bring in lots of veterans to be able to get help. So those are just some things. There may be more things that want to be added to it. I'm open to it, but I think we need to make some kind of move, and it needs to move outside of the budget. The budget is a big document. Nobody knows what it is. Resolution of it, and then included in the budget, but it needs to be, we need to make a real statement that is a resolution of action, that, you know, we supporting our veterans and we're not gonna play around. So I just wanted to let my colleagues know that we'll